here. Well, great evening, great evening. I am the dynamic, daring, one-of-a-kind diva, Denise Silas. Excited to have you on yet another Let's Talk About It Tuesday, where our theme this month is I'm a Survivor. So, good evening and welcome. I'm your host, Denise Silas, and throughout the month of May, in honor of National Women's Health Month, we are featuring in some series of women who have gone through their struggle of being a diagnosis, but made a decision that that was not going to be the end of their story. This series was created to give women a safe and empowering space to share their stories, not just about illness, but about resilience, faith, perseverance, healing, and rediscovering who they are beyond one of the most challenging seasons of their lives. Too often, women silently carry the emotional, mental, and physical weight of health battles while still trying to show up for everyone else. Tonight, we want women to know you are not alone. Your story matters. Your struggle does not cancel your strength. Throughout this month, we'll hear from incredible women who have faced diagnoses that changed their lives, but did not define their destiny. Women who have navigated fear, uncertainty, treatments, recovery, setbacks, support systems, emotional healing, and the courage to keep going. These conversations are not just about surviving physically, but they are about learning how to live fully again. So whether you are a survivor, a caregiver, supporting someone you love, or simply just joining us to learn and be encouraged, thank you for being here and being a part of this community. So now let's begin tonight's conversation as we welcome our amazing guest, as people know as Miss Sunshyne Taylor. So, Sunshyne is an entrepreneur and business consultant specializing in creative business development and strategic branding. She is the founder of Boss Divas, where she helps entrepreneurs turn ideas into clear, confident brands. She also serves as the creative director and founder of Pink Tiger Craft Bar, LLC, where she curates intentional creative spaces designed to inspire connection, clarity, and expression. A stroke survivor and dedicated advocate for personal growth, Sunshyne brings a message of resilience, discipline, and purpose to every room she enters. With nearly 3 decades of professional experience, she is a strong advocate for using creativity as a pathway to mental clarity, wellness, and growth. Her mission is to inspire individuals to embrace progress, take intentional action, and build lives that align with both vision and values, empowering others to live and create with resilience. And she is here with us tonight. Super excited to have her with us.
Thank you.
Let me bring her to the stage.
Hey, y'all.
Awesome. I'm excited. I have been knowing Miss Sunshyne for quite a bit as we were trying to feel exactly, okay, I did something wrong.
It said you stopped my video.
Okay.
Hold on.
Now I actually restarted.
Okay, there we
go. That's okay, right under it, my bad. Here we go. Add to the spotlight. Here we go. So yes, I have known her. I have watched her do many creative things. And I do believe right now you are in your season. Like this is, I think you have found your sweet spot. So
Yay.
I'm excited to even
it only took 55 years.
That's okay. No, that's the season of discovering, right?
Yes,
Learning.
exactly.
So people try to discount that season. And I promise you, you're learning a lot that you can take and you can use because nothing we have done will be wasted. Nothing we've done will be wasted. So we'll definitely learn a lot about that at the end. So let's just jump right into these questions so they can learn a little bit more about your health journey. So can you share your diagnosis story and what life looked like before your health journey began?
Okay, hey y'all. Okay, before the stroke, which was March 15th of 2021. So we knee deep into COVID at this point. But But before that, I considered myself a high functioning dysfunction. I was all over the place, busy doing nothing. This is the best way to describe it, because I was taking care of everybody else's responsibility. I was working a full-time job. I was still trying to discover exactly. It's like I knew how to do so many things, and I would take those so many things and try to make each one of them a business instead of just kind of honing in on something and trying to become an expert in that one thing. I couldn't understand that. And so I was always helping somebody else. And if somebody called, I'm over there. And I would even tell people, if you need me, call me. And I meant it when I said it. So if they call me, I actually, I was trying to be a woman of my word, and I would go, and I would just go, go, go. And so I was paying attention to everything except for the warning signs my body was giving me. Yes, I would have the high blood pressure, and I started thinking it was normal. I was like, oh
Mhm.
no, that's normal for me. And so I had to convince myself that, those high numbers, being 150 and 160 over whatever, is high, ladies. Is 120 over 80. If you're not in that lit, I think when you get over 130 something, they say start watching it. And even a low pressure, if you're somebody that's always like under 100, it's time to get some management. Low is just as bad as high, and people don't think it is, but it is. So when the stroke actually happened, everything instantly had to change. It forced me. It not only had COVID slowed me down, but the stroke really just, I had to completely shut down, and I had to really face all my issues, all my stress levels, and just the way I was living personally. It was one of the scariest moments of my life, because if it hadn't been for my husband reacting fast and getting me to the hospital immediately, things could have been went south real fast. So
Mhm.
uh, instead of paying attention to everybody else, it forced me to pay attention to myself.
So what was your initial emotional response? So when you
Fear.
were, you said fear.
It definitely was fear. And I still live in some of that fear, but
Mhm.
I just don't let it define me. And I think it affects your brain and your body quickly, but the mind could go, mine at least. I'm the type that even now I go to a worst case scenario. I'm always going to see what's the worst thing that could happen first. And then I'll backtrack and say, well, maybe that won't happen, and maybe that won't happen. So I always wondered, would I fully recover? Would I still have mobility? Would I, I was a big walker then, and I lived faster. So I was like, am I ever gonna be able to get out and walk again? And so I just was scared of if anything is gonna be normal again. And
Mhm.
uh and I had a big fear of how people saw me. And so I honestly was like, how people gonna look at me differently and how I'm gonna act differently. And it was just the whole fear is just the word. It was settled on me. I was determined to, kick in. I knew I had a choice, but and to this day, it's still kind of, I sit back, like, no matter what decision I'm making, I sit back and be like, well, that may not work,
So did it make
So
you start doubting yourself more?
definitely, it definitely messes with your confidence. And when I say I got to be the most self-confident person ever, but then when this happened, I was like, I don't know about that. And I stopped doing a few things, and I was like, well, I don't want to push myself too much. And so I was always into all those shanties and P90Xs and everything. And I got to where I was like, you know what? I don't need to do that. Who I'm trying to prove that to? So, I was convincing myself, even though it's what drove me in the beginning. But all of a sudden, I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should just keep my heart down, is what I kept telling myself. I don't have to push my heart like that. So fear was definitely the thing.
Do you remember when you started to have kind of a turning point where you were living with less fear? Maybe not fear less, but less fear.
I don't have a defining type moment. I've always been the type to talk myself into something, and I could talk myself out of something real easy. And I'm my biggest cheerleader. And so when I was when I doubt myself, I say, well, what could happen? You know, try it anyway. And I've always been a try anyway. That's probably why I've had 20 businesses up until this point.
Right.
But so I don't mind trying things. And so even when I have a fear, I kind of talk myself. I can kind of talk myself out of it. It might take a while, but I'll still mentally eventually talk myself into doing that thing I don't want to do.
So since you're talking about talking to yourself, because that's when we can, those conversations we have with ourselves may not always be
Yes.
good. So would you say that your self-talk got better or it got worse?
I think it was like a roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
I think some days it's horrible and I will talk myself out of it. And some days, I'll be like, girl, forget that. Just go. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm like, girl, forget it.
Mhm.
Like I am a end game type of person. So no matter what I'm doing, I look at how do I want it to end. And if I see myself, let's just say one of my goals is I want a big truck, like not like what my husband drives, but maybe like something girly but rugged, like I'm still bad. You know what I'm saying? Even in my old way. I guess this is how women go through midlife crisis. So instead of me, and I was like, I took my husband out to the car lot and I said, I want this big old this and I want this big old that. He's like, girl, sit yourself down somewhere. So then I said, well, you know what? He done paid this off. Maybe I just get some big tires and start there. So, I kind of bag myself, but I always go to the end first.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I bag myself down. I say, okay, well, that's next. So I take that approach with a whole lot of things.
Okay.
Because he's Mr. Shut Me Down.
Okay.
He gonna do that.
So he keeps you balanced. He keeps you
He keep
balanced.
me balanced.
So in your when you're going through your stages of really trying to kind of readjust, create your new normal, right?
Mhm.
Did you ever feel like you were isolated or misunderstood? Because I know you
Oh,
mentioned that you were
definitely.
wondering what people would think of you.
Yeah, definitely. I still do kind of go through moments of frustration, anxiety, exhaustion, and even grief. It's like you grieving who you used to be, your previous
Mhm.
version of yourself, and all the things you lost. And I even noticed that, like when we're out walking, all the ladies talk about how strong and deep we all used to be out walking at 5 in the morning, no matter what the weather. It could be 30 degrees, it could be,
Mhm.
super hot. We were out there like nobody been, and we all kind of talk like that. So I started realizing that, I'm not there saying, well, yeah, we can't worry about that. But I actually think that, like, who I lost and who I'm no longer like. And I'm like, yeah, well, we getting older. It's okay, long as we still out. I'm pumping them up. But then at the same time, it's the same stuff I was saying to myself.
Right.
So I have to learn to cheer myself in the same context like I do with them. In isolation, oh my goodness, there was a time, like especially when I first got home from rehab, that I didn't have to isolate myself. My husband would give you a speech like no other when you came to this house. Like, you better not stress her out or you going to have to go. You can't come over. No, we're not going to have too many people over. So, and it was during the little period of COVID. So it was okay for us to just be home by ourselves. So actually it was like, I mean, if I'm going to have a perfect time to have a stroke, it was the perfect time
Mhm.
because we were home. We're already home. We're already, in that kind of isolated mode. And so people assume, and another way I feel isolated is people assume because you look okay that everything is okay, and it's not. It's that, like Alex was saying last week, it's that invisible stuff. And a lot of things that happen to me now, no one would know if I didn't tell them. No
Mhm.
one. Like I could be going down the sidewalk and actually veering to one side and not even realize it. And I'm walking with somebody and they just thinking in their head, this girl all over in my lane, but it's unconsciously just what I do now. So
Mhm.
I have to mindfully do a lot of things, like something simple as lifting my feet when I start walking fast. One of the things the doctor left me with when I left rehab is when I'm talking, I have to slow down because I do talk fast when I get nervous. They like slow down because nobody understands you, and I talk muffled. So sometimes people saying yeah, and I'm like, "But you didn't even hear me. How you answering yes? Just ask me to repeat it. I do not get offended. Ask me to repeat it." So they tell me talk slower, talk louder, so that people could understand me. And sometimes I'm just talking and not realizing folks ain't even understanding what you're saying, girl. Just talking.
So it
But
sounds like you.
the strong people are just expected to always be strong. And there are plenty of times when I'm not. And I'm hurting too. And it's hard for me to just sit back and just be that person. But so I'm kind of isolated in that thing, but I try not to be.
So a couple things that you said. Okay, so because you said several, and I was like, oh, I should have wrote down. So the one thing about trying to be strong, right? So was it being strong because you felt that you were supposed to be strong, or
Yes.
did the people put that on you? Was it more
I
you?
think I put it on myself. Nobody has said, yeah, you the strong one, but they do come to me for things. And so I feel like I have to be that strong one. So I try to live up to it. And not that anybody put me on. And sometimes my husband tell me, sit your tail down. You need to rest. You need to stop going and don't let them do this. And don't let nobody. He told me just the other day, he said, stop doing so much out the kindness of your heart and make people pay for your talent. And yeah, they can look that stuff up just like you can look it up, but you did it. So they pay for your experience because I'll give you something free in a minute. And I ain't gonna never be rich. Not like that, but hey, I'm gonna be rich in people.
Right.
That ain't gonna pay no bills.
Ain't gonna pay nothing. Ain't gonna change no lifestyle.
Yes.
Yes, we can have a whole meeting about that one. I had to send a whole email about that to somebody.
Right.
As much as I would love to,
right.
Can't do that in this season. Cannot do that in this season. So that was one thing that you said. And then the other is, creating that new normal. Sometimes we are so caught up of what we used to be versus saying, being confident and courageous enough to redefine who we are now. Like that caused you an outward stroke, but a lot of us are dealing with that just in general because of age. How about that?
Right.
I remember saying something to Leah about working out. She was like, because you was 5 years younger then. Like, I was amazed that I couldn't do something. She was like, that was 5 years ago. And we just want to continue to be versus what I say all the time, being the best version of ourselves in this current season of the life. Right.
Yes. Because I think about it all the time. I took a year of CrossFit and I was running this and jumping and throwing weights all up above my head. And girl, I look at this stuff now like, I need to sell this stuff. Because I got plenty upstairs, but I need to sell it. So I'm not going to do it.
Right. And being okay with that, right? Being
okay with it. That's the thing. Because everybody else is like, yeah, girl, you older, don't even worry about that. But I'd be like, dang, but I used to could do that, So it's really me. It ain't other people. When you just used to handling things yourself and being so independent, it'll humble you. It teach you to just allow people to help you and actually be a form of strength for you. And you don't have to just be that person all the time.
Right. Yeah. And that empowers them. Sometimes we're taking away people's power, being the person who always just handles stuff. So you want to empower them and to not only support you, but to be able to be confident in supporting other people as well. Because we don't want to rob people of their confidence. Right. And sometimes that's what happens because
it's unintentional, but they kind of once you just started, like let's say that I'm the one that always organize stuff and with our friend group. And after a while, they ain't gonna do it at all. They're gonna be like, we ain't worried because you got our calendars. Well, now I'm tired. So hey, if y'all want to do something, it's up to y'all. Who got something going? And I'm like that now. I was like, Well, when they mention something, they just mention the idea, and they like, oh, Gail gonna handle it. But Girl, send me the details. Right. So I've gotten a lot better with that.
And it's good because you probably needed to. It's probably a whole lot of room, right? A whole lot of room that you can do that with. So when you talked about being able to ask people for help. So let's talk about your support system during that time and how you were able to hopefully release some things and receive some things at the same time. So tell us about that, of just having to depend on other people now.
Yeah, it was kind of hard because it's just not naturally in me. But I had to have faith. I had plenty of family and friends, and I actually, have a nice community of people that I used to always say that I don't understand people that say they had nowhere to go, because I know somebody that like me somewhere that I can call. It's plenty of people in my phone that if I had nowhere to go, I'm sure I can call and be like, can I just sleep on your couch? And if you don't have that, I mean, what have you been doing? But there are people that checked on me. Even if they couldn't come see me, I knew they was praying for me. They encouraged me. They would send me something on a text. I had doctors that I didn't even knew why I was out. They had started a food train, so every day food was coming, and they was like, if you can get Dennis to come and pick this up, I've already ordered a meal plan for the whole week, and different stuff like that. So I didn't, and then Dennis hired somebody to come clean. So everything was just kind of taken care of, so where I could rehab and get back to where I needed to be, at least to some degree. So sure enough, after 8-10 weeks, max 12, I had returned to work. I was walking enough to where I could, get around pretty decently. They had let me start back driving. So, I know I had talking problems, but it was okay. And Dennis, I had trouble with my right hand and it was weak. Dennis would make me fill out payroll. He was like, I don't care if it take you all night. Just write write. It was like 3 checks that we had to write. He was like, it gives you practice what you're writing. He went and got me a coloring book. So that became my therapy, doing the crafts and cutting using scissors and gluing. It's just using my hand became therapeutic for me. And to this day, I'm sure it's what helped me out. So
Awesome.
that's why I love my craft. And I decided that, I'm gonna stay right there. And that was it for me.
Yeah. So was there any type of support that you needed that you didn't receive? I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask. That you wish somebody would have?
I don't think so, but what I do wish is that there were just more conversation around the emotional side of recovery. Like people talk about all the physical and getting rehab and staying healthy, eating the right thing and walking and everything, but nobody really talks about the emotional side: fear, anxiety, overthinking, all these the pressure to bounce back. And I think that kind of stuff is almost just as important.
Right.
And there's just, I'm sure there are some safe spaces to discuss it, but who knows what those are. And if you can get your friends to just be open and be able to talk honestly about that without feeling judged, if you can just get more of that. Because when people showed up, they basically was there just to make sure I'm okay, make sure I got food, make sure those basic physical needs, were met. But I don't know if they were not physically, I don't know if they were there for the emotional side. Could you hear the conversation? Could you talk me? I'm not the cry on the shoulder person. I'm probably gonna tell you, get up and get it together. But there are friends of mine that are that emotional side, and I'm not even the emotional kind that may even give it to you. So if I would have created more conversation around that even before the stroke, maybe I've been more open to having that type of support after the stroke.
So that's a good thing, because a lot of times you just don't know how to help people. You often don't know what to say, or often people say, what, you need some food, that's the big
the regular stuff. Yeah.
But how do you, I think that's what important thing about this series is helping us to also know how we can help others, right? So taking this experience and being able to tell me, okay, now if something happened to a friend, not just the stroke, but in general,
right?
What could be some questions I can ask her? How are you, coping? What can I do?
Right.
What type of support? And I know sometimes it's hard to ask people, what can I do? Because sometimes you just don't know, right? You just don't know.
Right.
So I remember somebody saying, when she didn't know, she just went and sat with her friend because she felt that even her presence was enough for her. And I was like, oh, I got to do better. I got to do better, Jesus.
My daughter taught me something recently, and she said, Mom, I would get this done if somebody just come over and sit in the room. They don't have to talk to me. They can read a book. They just sit in the room. And it proved true for her. And I don't know how she figured it out, but she had a friend that came over and they were reading their book, doing their nail, but she got a lot done. And I guess it's just, you have to see how you can support somebody, and how you support that person ain't gonna be how you support the next person.
100%.
And so it's kind of a fine line, and it's hard to kind of get that determination. And I don't know how she figured that out, but it works for her.
Right. It's just some company versus your
Yeah.
mind. You just start
Right.
your mind wandering when
Yep.
it's just you by yourself. That's not as a really healthy place. I think
Yeah.
I would imagine when you're already going through stuff, just to be alone. That's because the devil
Oh
workshop,
yeah.
right? When
Oh
he
yeah.
when you get you by yourself. So,
That's true.
um, but thank you for sharing that. Just hopefully put something. I know it puts on my mind just being present. Just drop in. Sometimes we wait for permission and wait for all
Mm-hmm.
this and asking all this,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's just stopping over. And even you see dishes, go wash the dishes. This
Yeah. Yeah.
I was with Alea over her house one day, and you know the bottles filled up, and I just went over there and
Right.
washed the bottles. And she said, I just look like. She said it was like, oh, thank you. You because that's
Yeah.
something that at least I may have did everything, but clean house with a sink full of bottles don't help you,
Yeah.
right? It's
That's
what how can you meet an immediate need? So
right.
what specific moment did you realize you were stronger, or did you think that you were stronger than you in
Mm.
going through the process? Because you're already a strong person, so I think that's a different type of strong than having to go through your health journey strong. When you
Right.
agree, I would think that'd be
I
different.
agree. I agree. I think possibly when I stopped focusing on what really happened to me and got more into what I could still do.
Mm.
Because especially like when I went back to work, and everything was slow motion for me. I had people that that knew why I was out, that was approaching me, and they were just telling me different stories about family members that had it and had a stroke, and how bad they were and how bad they still are. And so, it kind of shifted something that I just focused on what I could still do. And there was a lot that I still could do compared to what happened to me. So I started back walking, completing the races. I hadn't got back to, that stage, but hey, whatever. Rebuilding my confidence. I've always been try to be an encourager to other women. So, just got back into doing some things that I could still do instead of worrying about the things that I couldn't. And before long, I feel normal.
You, I think this is a good one right here, y'all. This is a good one right here. When she said, focusing on what I can do.
Hmm.
Because just a few minutes ago, we were talking about, oh, we used to could do this, we used to can do
Right.
that, right? So when
Right.
you shift that energy and put energy into what I can do, and you're amazed at as much as you can do, and then it helps you to say, okay, there's a lot of people who can't even do this, right?
Hmm.
So being able to be in a grateful state with that as well. So I think that's our nugget. You know, her last week, Alexandra, my yes is a yes and my no is a no. And I think yours is
Right.
focus on what you can do. Like,
What you
I think
can
that's a
do.
big deal. That's a big deal because we go through, and whether it's something physical, just change in your family dynamics. I mean, like,
Hmm.
there's all kinds of things that would put us in a situation where we no longer are able to do what we used to do, right? If you
Exactly.
had your first child, or an ailment, like, it's several ways that would get you there. So that whole concept of, we can take that and use it regardless, focus on
Hmm.
what I can do instead of spending so much energy talking about what you can't do and
Exactly.
not getting anywhere. So that be my, I put stars on both sides of it for that one. Um, how did your faith, mindset, or support system impact your healing or your survival?
Oh, definitely my faith. And I used to think that, like, did I really have faith? Because I doubted so much. But and they say but they say faith and fear don't live in the same area. So
Right.
I just had to go off my faith. And there were moments, it was plenty of moments I was uncertain or scared or just exhausted. But my faith reminded me I got purpose. So I
Mm.
held on to that. And when my mind get overwhelmed, I just pray about it. And it gives me a nice calm peace. And I just get off to myself. And I used to wouldn't get off to myself because I felt like my mind was always racing and I was always busy and didn't know how to settle my mind. But girl, I can settle it now. I can sit there, I can go outside. I ain't got to be doing nothing. Ain't no music got to be on, no TV got to be on. I can just sit there in peace, say a little prayer, and I'm just okay. So I just had to shift my mindset from why me to what can I learn from this and how can I move forward. So it's just a perspective thing.
And it sounds like this because one of the questions is how has this experience changed you for better in learning how to be still, slow
Yeah.
yourself on down somewhere?
I still go a lot,
Yes.
but I also know how to relax and take some downtime. So every day I have some type of downtime, some type. Yeah.
Okay. So is that something you intentionally do?
Intentional. Yes.
Okay.
Very intentional. And I just started something that you recommended a while back at one of your breakfasts, and that was time blocking downtime.
Mhm.
So time blocking really everything, but because I'm at work and a lot of things are scheduled, I block off a certain amount of time on my calendar that, and I don't let nobody give me a meeting at time. And I may get up and go walk outside or something else, but I'm definitely not gonna be involved in something. So I could just have some downtime.
Awesome. Just put in just a few minutes here, a few minutes there. But it's the
Yes,
being
it helps.
intentional about it, right?
Yeah, it
Being intentional.
helps.
I love that. I love that. Um, because we think we don't have enough time to do some certain things. I was
True.
listening to Mel Robbins, and she was talking about really is about kind of about recentering yourself when you get overwhelmed. And her
Yes.
three things was she walks, she does she called it friend. Oh gosh, I can't think, but it's where you tap into your friend base. Because a lot of times we have certain people that we can, we love, we get energy from, right? And then her last one is she tuck herself in at night. So that may be a bath, like where she shuts it down. It may be bath from somebody maybe reading. So when you said, that time block, just being intentional about how you can be recenter yourself, right?
Mhm.
Some people do just meditation, but if you can do meditation and want to do meditation, but if you don't schedule the meditation, sometimes we don't you ever get to it, right? So I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that, just being intentional with that, of when that happens for
Yeah.
yourself as well. Um, what did you have to release to move forward? And then they say fear, pride, control, unhealthy habits, or limiting beliefs. Like, what did you have to release?
One of my limiting beliefs is that I had to be everything for everyone. So I definitely had to let that mindset go. Of course, fear. And like I said, I still have a bit of that. But I had to let go a lot of unhealthy habits, ignoring my own needs. So recovery taught me that I just need more rest, more boundaries, more self-care. And for me, I know a lot of people think self-care is just pedicures and manicures, but it's not for me. It could be a drive by myself. It could be a going by myself a new book. As a matter of fact, it's hardly ever a manicure pedicure. It's just not my thing. But it's different for everything. So it just depends on what I feel like I would make me feel good in that moment. So I'm okay with going to take it. So if I disappear, sometimes I tell my husband I'll be back, and he know I don't mean nothing. I'm just going, just to clear my head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. So she said thrifting is her happy place. Um,
Oh, see, thrifting drive me crazy.
yeah, the 600 calories burned. Ooh, that make me feel
See,
good. Like, so we all have different things, right?
exactly,
But
exactly.
I think what's important is you need to know the thing. Like,
Hmm.
if you keep running and not paying attention to what brings you joy, what
Exactly.
recenters you, you are going to burn out. You're just going to burn
Oh
out.
yeah,
It's because you
definitely.
have not figured it out. So try different things until you figure out what your thing
You
is that
figure
brings
it
you the
out.
most joy.
I
So,
agree.
but it's important to know that thing. It is important to
True.
know that thing. What would you say to someone who is currently facing a diagnosis or having to go through a health? What would you tell them about their situation of how to handle that?
Uh, I would definitely say it's not the end of the story. Take it one day at a time. Don't go try to do 3 days at a time. Give yourself grace, and don't compare your your healing journeys to anybody else's. Because I look at other folks and I'm like, I should be doing that. but I don't know what they went through, and they don't know what I went through. So I become an advocate for myself. And that's where I set up my boundaries. So now I'm okay with be like, nah, I don't want to do that. So, and no is a complete sentence. So if I just say no, I don't have to offer you no kind of excuses. So I just give myself time to rest and heal, cry, rebuild. And that's my advice to somebody else. Just give yourself time and don't try to rush it.
Right. Awesome. What would you say to someone who is afraid to share their struggles in their journey? They may be too ashamed or embarrassed. What would you say to them?
Yeah. So I do think a lot of people suffer in silence because they think it makes them weak to share it, but it's power in a story. And I'm probably classic for not sharing enough details, but it's power in your story because you can best believe somebody's going through it. And even if they're not going through what you're going through, something in your story should resonate. More than likely it's going to resonate with them. And it don't have to be the exact same story because we all got something that we're dealing with. So some things I share publicly, y'all know I'm not scared of sharing on social media. And I just don't carry that shame. And so I don't think it's something to hide. So I don't mind telling somebody I had the stroke. And a lot of people forget. They think, oh, why she ain't doing that no more? And I'll be like, y'all know I ain't that steady no more. Like I'm scared of the steps. I'm scared of step of ropes. That's why I said, girl, you can come get this step over here. I should, and that's one of my physical therapy things. They wanted me to just step up and down, but I'm like, I got these stairs up in here. That's gonna be enough. I'm like, girl, you can come get this aerobic step. I don't need this. But I think I lose balance so quick. So that's one of the things I just keep to myself. But I think when I was real heavy into sharing it, I had so many people reach out, saying that, well, what did you do about this? And I got an uncle that sharing all type of stories, and you just don't even realize some people I never even knew had a stroke until I had mine. And I was like, I never knew that about you. So it became an open channel, which I thought was great.
Did you connect with any type of supports groups or anything like that?
No, I didn't. And, I probably should have. And maybe I would have understood more of the emotional side. Like I said, creating that conversation, for the emotional side. But I just never did. I was kind of mad that I even had to have physical therapy and I couldn't just get back out there walking. And, so I was just kind of dealing with things on my own. But I'm in therapy now. Because after a while it kind of builds up and you don't even know why. And so I'm just in there talking, and sometimes we talking about nothing, but it all stems back to what you didn't deal with in the past. And so if you can start sharing it openly, and it don't even have to be publicly like social media, just sharing it publicly with somebody,
Right.
it's gonna help somebody. Yeah, it don't have to be a platform like Facebook and stuff like that.
Right.
In order to help. Yeah.
Be able to make a difference. Right.
I just think when you authentic, you're gonna connect. You're gonna connect with something when you being real.
And it's not important. Well, to me, it's not important the number of people that you connect with, because if you can change one life, I know there's a story about a man going down the beach. I don't know if y'all heard this story before, and his son is picking up the seashells and throwing them back into the water, and it was a bunch of them, and he was like, you can't possibly make a difference for all of them. And he was like, well, I made a difference for that one. So if many of you guys know I have fear of talking in front of people for forever and a day. What pushed me to talk is if one person would be impacted by it. Like it just took one person to say that, oh, what you said made a difference. I was like, I'm willing to sacrifice me for that one person. So when you're sharing your story, it could be that and the person may not even be in the room. Somebody could have heard it to share it, and then be able to share it. But if it gets to the one person, I think one person is enough for us to be willing to share it, to be able to encourage that one person. Because then that one person, impacting that one person, may then impact other lives that person's connected to. And it may not be the stroke related, but it may be their children. Now they,
Exactly.
all kinds of things that can happen from that. So I love that, being able to do that. So tell us about your new venture.
Okay.
So and if nobody else has witnessed the 30 gazillion entrepreneur journeys, I think I have.
Oh,
I,
I have done
but
it all.
right,
If
right,
you can name a business, I've probably tried it. Even a stripper pole. I got one upstairs, I just knew I was gonna be the next person to open up a pole dancing studio, but that didn't happen. The Lord said no, that ain't your lane right there. But but journaling, and I'm not even the type of journal person that writes something every day. Some people are, but my journaling is capturing my day, and that could be a simple, let's say, like I'm looking at it now, like I went to Starbucks and this is the bag from Starbucks, so I may just cut a piece of this bag and put it in my thing because this just represents what happened today. And I just think it gives me a moment to remember and not skate past my life, because before we know, we're already almost halfway through with a year.
yeah,
And it just gives me a moment to not skate past it. And not, if I died right now, I don't want my kids to have to log on to Facebook to see all my memories. They're
right.
going to be in some books somewhere,
So
So,
so back it up a little bit, because there's probably people that have no idea what you're talking about, right?
okay.
So I've watched it a little bit. So tell me, so you have the pink tiger, but you I know you do a variety, because you
I
even
do.
come and did stuff with me. So tell me what the focus. Tell us as if we don't know, because guess what?
Okay.
We
Okay.
don't.
So we don't. So my business is Pink Tiger Craft Bar, and I believe it is a way to bring out the creativity, to take a break from life. And what we do is we sit around. It's a way to connect with other ladies and just take a break from the hustle and bustle of life. And that could be something as simple as writing a prompt. It could be making a keychain. It could be making a bookmark. It could be painting. So some form that takes you away from working and home life. And it's just a time to connect and just not have to worry about anything. And I am also the owner of Boss Diva Creative Design. Now, that is my branding company, and that's where I help other people uh, market their business or event, because it could be an event. I can make you I can help you with a website, I can help you with logos, I can help you with shirts, anything that displays what you want to, your vision is, and showcase it at a business or an event. So it's two sides of me, my business side and my fun side. So I try to make them collide, but they don't. So hey.
So tell us a little bit more about the whole concept we were just talking about with the bag, with using the Starbucks bag to build what? So
So
what are you creating from
So
that?
one of my biggest ventures is junk journaling, and with junk journaling, I take a regular notebook. It can be anything you write with, and I take things from everyday life. It could be like I said, the Starbucks cup. It could be the bag. It could be a menu from when I went out. It could be a receipt, just something from my day, and I try to document what I was doing in that moment. I go to a lot of things with my friends, so of course we're gonna take a picture. I'm gonna take that picture. I'm gonna put it in my journal, and I'm gonna write a little note next to it, like we were trying out a Mexican bar or something like that. And so I don't just put the picture. I'm probably gonna put a business card from the bar, just momentums. And it's kind of like we did memory books back in high school.
That's
That's
what makes
exactly where I get the concept from, because I did keep mine in 12th grade. And it's like a messy form of scrapbooking, because I am not that nice, neat person. And some of the ladies are. I'm just not. And so mine's going to look a hot mess, but I love it. And I could do it for hours. And I just swear everybody loves it too. But, hey.
gotcha. Okay. Well, let's see if any of the ladies have any questions. And I should do the questions prior to that, but hey, we're trying to figure this new format out. But yes, or if there's anything that you shared that anything that she shared that made a difference? Was it aha moment? Give us, because I don't see any specific questions in the chat. Does anybody have any questions or comments? You can feel free to either come off of mute as well.
Devin, I explained it well.
Hi, this is Pam Craddock.
Hey,
I just had a comment. I just so enjoyed hearing your journey. I
thank
too
you.
had two strokes actually. Um, the biggest part I had in my stroke was the church people because they
Yes.
tried to make me think I didn't have faith because a part of my journey I had to use a cane. And every now and then I still have to pull that cane out.
Yeah.
Um, one time I was at church. I was at church. I look back on it. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. I look back at church and I look back and I was at a church and the preacher said, "Sister, you right there. You need to run down that aisle." And I'm like, I just had a stroke. And I started running. I said, it was like I said, crazy fool, why are you running? You know you can't run, you know.
Nobody
So
push
my
you to make.
biggest challenge came with the church people trying to make me think I didn't have faith because of what my journey was, you know, and how my journey was. The physical therapy.
Yeah.
One time I did come to church with my cane. I came to my own church with my cane, and this lady, she snatched that cane from me. Yeah, she did. She snatched the cane. I ain't gonna tell you who it was, Denise. But she snatched the cane from me,
Okay, we
and
know.
then she started hitting my leg, talking about some. I said, and I told her, if you hit my leg one more time. So my biggest part was the church people, but I do like what you said about how I had to show them because they always looked at me as a strong person. And I used to tell people I am not strong. and and they just, even in my illness, they just didn't want to let it go for me, you know. So that was kind, yeah, the church people. You took me back to that. The church people just got on my nerve.
So I'm pulling the pictures um, that you shared. So tell us a little about these pictures.
Okay, so the hospital picture is when I finally made it to therapy, physical therapy, and they had me. I could only have one visitor a day, and my right, I think, no, I guess it was my left. That was very weak, so it's hard to spoon my food, and I remember I would try to switch it over and use my other one, and somebody would always walk in and catch me. So I had to. They was like, "No, use that weak hand." They wanted me to feed my girl. I would have
Oop.
hospital. My blood pressure was 220 over, I want to say 120 something. So this picture here is 2 years afterwards, and everything was normal. And knock on wood, everything's been normal since. I am down to my lowest version of pressure pills, and I probably would not get off of them because of my kidneys. I did have some effect on my kidneys during my stroke, and just to maintain, a little healthiness of it, help it along the way. They want me to at least stay on it for that. But my pressure stays about that 115/79. And so me and this, I am vaccinated. That's me at work. Um, One of my biggest, if anybody ever asked me, what do you like most about yourself? I always said my smile. And so I was so hurt when my smile was half cocked. And so I would do the little mouth exercise, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, saying the stuff in the mirror every morning, trying to get my smile back. And it's still not all the way back, but now I don't care. I just, it's back enough. Nobody knows that. But for the longest. When everything else was still kind of working right, my smile was still kind of half cocked, and I would still be trying to big cheeses. So now I tell everybody I'm missing 4 teeth in the back. So I tell everybody, you finna get all 28 of these teeth now. And so the last picture is me very recently with the Powered by DS. And I'm giving my biggest smile right there.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I am so thankful for you to share. Is there anything else you want us to know about your
Thank you, Yvette.
experience, or you want us to remember?
Just remember to pay attention to your body. And if something's not right or not quite in the normal range, still get it checked. Still get it checked. Even if you think it's your new normal and dog, girl, that's how I do. Don't even listen to that. Go and see what the doctor say about it. And if that doctor ain't talking right, go see another doctor. I just believe in you just have to be an advocate for yourself. Bottom line.
Bottom line.
And rest.
Get some rest. Does
Yes.
anybody else have any other questions for let's see. Yep. Go see another doctor. Yes, but we got to pay attention enough, and don't do this like she was trying to normalize high blood pressure. So yeah, that's what we don't want to do. Start to normalize things and then having to get shut down because we went too long and then not having to do. Are there any specific things that you had to do differently that you do now medically in order for you
so
to stay, I don't say safe, but
so one of the things that kind of led to my stroke is I thought if I don't want to take medicine, I just wouldn't take medicine. Or I would stay so busy so much that if I forgot it, I just forgot it. And I thought nothing of it. And so now I do not play. I'm in there popping them drugs. And then they even ask me, you took it? Yes, I took my medicine. I'm not playing with it until a doctor takes me off of it. Now, if something they give me is making me feel bad, then I'm just going to call them up. I'm okay with calling them up and sending them a message and say, hey, this thing you just gave me, because cholesterol medicine does that to me. It makes me real lethargic and I don't want to say lazy, just draggy. And so they kind of reduced it, and I'm kind of doing a lot better with that now, but I won't stop it until they tell me to stop it. Yeah. So that's one thing that if I don't say nothing else, y'all remember, if you're on the medicine, take the medicine. And if it's not working for you, go back to the doctor. Don't just assume you could just stop taking the medicine, because that's what I did. Yeah.
It was March of 2021 that you had your stroke. Okay.
15.
Let's make sure I give it right. Well, awesome. Yes. Well, thank you very much. Well, quickly, I am going to just share a couple things with you guys as we close it up in our because I don't know if we have anybody who's on here for the very first time. As I mentioned earlier, I am Denise Silas of Empowered by DS, and there we go. And this is one of our ways, and I always like to thank our guests and tell them thank you for saying yes, because you support our mission. You help us be in a position where we can support women and be in the best version of themselves in their current season by just sharing your testimony and your story. So I am very grateful for that. And as we continue on our mission, this is, of course, you guys, it's been over a year. I want to encourage somebody who just may have a thought or a concept. We didn't know what this was going to look like. And now it's March of 2025 is when we started this, not knowing who we were going to have conversations with. So thank you, Sunshyne, and all those who are on here. I know Jackie is going to be coming up soon. Just thank you for supporting and saying yes and being willing at 8:00 at night to share, because this definitely is a big part of what we do. And I think it's one of my most things I appreciate the most as our Let's Talk About It Tuesday. Also, we have our membership base. Very grateful for that, because we have our book club, the Belong, Become, and Bloom, as we just really trying to become the best version of ourselves as we are becoming. and continuing to grow. So we have that. We also have our, and you just heard from Pam, she's the one been leading our what we call Sacred Start. So a part of our group, another ways that we're making a difference is just we start our month out with prayer as our sacred time to be able to kind of set up our month and pray for our needs and continued growth. So I'm excited about that. I'll talk about our Diva Dinner and Dialogue in a minute, but Sunshyne mentioned earlier about one of our events, and I do an empowerment workshop. So our next one is July for our mid-year, and then October we'll have our final lap. So just trying to put ourselves in position to continue to keep women moving and helping them to define the new normal as they continue to be their best version of themselves. And our yearly event, we just came off of our Escape to Empower Me retreat day retreat. We focus on wellness. We focus on our ovarian cancer. So put it on your calendar in September to be looking out for that during Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, as well as our Give Back campaign with Adopt a Grandparent. Mark your calendar, June 13th. June 13th is our next Diva Dinner and Dialogue. We're excited about that. Just giving women the opportunity to connect through conversation, always having some of those topics that we don't always get to talk about just in every day that makes a difference for women. So you can text back to the number DDD, no spaces, and you'll get the details about our next Diva Dinner and Dialogue. Text back the word tribe to learn more about our community of women just coming together. And I always tell people, I'm not here to entertain, like not really here to entertain. I'm looking for helping women to just create connection, build their confidence of where they are really building community and transforming into the women that God has called them to be. So learn more about us by texting back the word tribe. Our theme this year, Align, Become, Conquer, as we continue to stay in alignment with what God has for us. And sometimes, we were having a discussion in our book club about when you talk about getting in alignment, that's tough, y'all. If you ever continue to try to stay where God, this year I had to remove myself from spaces, and you have to be bold enough and courageous enough. That's why I have Conquer as a part of it, to really stand in who God has called you to be. I'm grateful that I'm in a season that I am open enough, to not think, because forever I thought, and Sunshyne, I thought Mary Kate was it. Like I was that girl. And I was where I was supposed to be then, right? Wherever that is for you, that's where it is for you until he tells you something different. I just thought back then that was the end of the story. I didn't realize he was preparing me for this phase of my life. So be open to redirection and being open to discovery. And I think, if I had to think about it for you, Sunshyne, I would think you were in discovery mode. It was just, you were discovering, and now you have discovered where it is for you right now, right? So I'm excited to watch you in that season. We had questions, we did that, so did kind of backwards this time. So check out our tribe, check us out, hit us back, be there on June 13th. And if you're a reader, get this book, The Mountain Is You. Get this book. I promise you guys it would change your life. It's a good book. The Mountain Is You. And if you, I'm going to send these links. I was listening, so we just finished a chapter on releasing the past. And I just recently was listening to Pastor Mike. He has this part 1 and part 2 about I'm too blessed to be bitter. Oh, y'all, between that chapter and those two. So I'm going to send the links back to you guys. The people who weren't on aren't going to realize it, but I promise you, take the time and listen to it. It will definitely bless you. It would definitely bless you. We just came back and you saw a Sunshyne shirt from our trip to Birmingham. You guys put it on your calendar. I am so super duper excited about our Wellness on the Water for April of next year. Just a time for us to really get away. We will have activities. I'm having a personal trainer go, so we're going to be working out. I have a coach on there that's going to take us through her book. We have stuff that we're going to do. So bring yourself and your girlfriends. And then once we get started, every quarter, I'm going to have a virtual meetup. and start mixing us up so we get to meet some of the women and not just get there and be like, who are they? But you'll be able to meet women along the way. So when we get there in April 2027, you will have already built some relationships, because I'm all about community. I'm all about community. So I'm excited about that. So be looking out for that as well. Check us out, our website, Empowered by GS, to see what's happening, what's coming up. I also do group coaching and one-on-one coaching as well. And follow us on all our platforms, Empowered by DS. Those are my beautiful daughters who work with me in my business. So I just appreciate you guys being on. And I always tell people, we're not here just for our own personal gain. We are empowered now through the conversation we have with Sunshyne, and that's to empower others. So share, and we share because we care. It's all about what we can do to just help others be a better version of themselves. And through that process, we are a better version of ourselves. So I thank you again, Sunshyne, for being on. And we're going to remember, we're just going to focus on what we can do. So do you have any last thing that you want to share as we wrap it up for tonight? You're muted. You're muted, honey.
Not really. I think I told y'all everything. I love y'all. I'm probably about like Denise. I am not a public speaker, but I'm getting better. I don't feel like I stumbled tonight like I normally do. So I appreciate you.
You did great.
Giving us this platform.
You did great. So thank you. So you guys have a fantastic evening. Yes, you did do amazing. You guys have a fantastic evening, and come back next week. Next week we have, who's doing it? Oh, Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie is going to be on next week. She's sharing her story, and her journey is breast cancer. So please join us next week. And thank you guys for being on. Have a great rest of the night. Oh, I didn't know you was on, Erica. Oh, so many other people on. I didn't see.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey. So y'all have a great rest of the night.